Hello, 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 and welcome to a special live edition of the New Watchers on the Wall. Episode 10 of From was absolutely amazing. So good that we had to get deep on them. You know what I'm saying? We acting like Kendrick Lamar on this one right here. We are rolling deep, letting the whole world know what we bring to the table. And as you can see, we have some amazing guests for you all today. I want to thank Brother Carter. Thank you for joining us. Say what's up to the people, Carter.
Greetings, everyone. Greetings.
And our friend Margot. Everybody knows Margot. What's up, Margot?
Hey, hey.
What's going on, Derek? Say what's up to the people.
People,
What's going on, Spade Parkland? Say what's up, man. Say what's up. He always be
Hey, what up,
dropping it.
everybody? What up?
What's going on, Tavana? TV Theory. Say what's up to the people.
Hello, hello, hello. Good evening.
Yes, and my man J8. Say what's up to the people, man.
Mustard! Just in time for the man in yellow.
I'm telling you, man, you got to turn up because episode 10 was absolutely amazing. I want to thank all of you guys for joining us today. Let's go ahead and just hit the chat. Thanks some of the people that have come in. Can just click on a couple of people and welcome them to the chat. And while we're doing that, our first question of the day, and we're going to get to episode 10, but our first question is, what was maybe your favorite moment or a moment that stood out with you just the entire season of season 3? And just go ahead and be thinking about that while we're posing that question to the audience as well. And if you're in the audience listening, put your comment below so that we can post it up. But let's talk about that a little bit. Then a little bit later on, we're going to get into episode 10 because there's just so much stuff to discuss. So let's welcome some of the chat, Candace.
Hey, hey, hey. I want to give a shout out to Elizabeth. What's up, Elizabeth? How you doing? We also got Lysandra on the chat today, along with very welcome repeat customer, Larissa Bayamaya. We got a lot of new people that I don't even Oh, we got Glue Guns and Roses. Hey, girl, what's up? And then Scraggo Tap Shop. I hope I'm pronouncing this stuff right.
Click on them too, Candace. Make sure you click on them
yes.
so they can see.
So, hey guys, it's so great to see you. I'm so glad you guys came. Oop. Yes. I think everybody does have a channel here, and we'll specify that a little bit later on in the chat.
Exactly. So in the chat, make sure you leave a comment below of your favorite moment so far of season 3 and save episode 10. We're going to talk about that a little bit later. So who wants to start us off? Let's start with the ladies first. Margot, favorite moment from the entire season.
Oh my gosh. Favorite moment that's not episode 10?
Yes. If you say something this episode 10, we're going to put you in the box and we might make Jasper come see about you. So it has to be anything with episode 10.
Okay, anything besides episode 10. I would probably say, oh my gosh, I'm trying to think of a monumental moment. I would probably say my favorite moment was, it's going to be early on when, I guess not early on, I'll say later on. I'll choose this one. Basically, I love Jim, but when Jim finally got himself handed to him, because it's been hard for Jim to find anybody that has been smarter than him, that's been in the same situation as him, that's had wifely problems like he has. And so when him and Henry were in that bar, he met his match. And I played that line for my husband. I was like, babe, did you hear what he just said? He says, sometimes you need to just shut the fuck up and listen to your wife. Okay. I showed it, play that for my husband. I'm like, do you hear that? So I would say that was probably one of my favorite moments, was Jim just finally realizing that, like, hey, there are people who have also been in a certain similar situation and you should be moving differently.
Awesome. And then it's on you now, Tavana. What was one of your favorite or standout moments of this particular season?
I was just thinking, because I'm like, my favorite moment is in episode 10, but I'm going to go with my favorite little character, JH, little Ethan, who can do no wrong in my eyes. In episode 8, when him and Julie was at their ruins, and she was high as a kite, asking her little brother, hey, what should I do here? He looked at her like, what the?
Girl.
Why you asking me? That's my favorite moment.
Okay, awesome. Let's get you, Parkland. Get in there.
I'd say this season, Julie chapter walking, that was pretty cool because it showed that there's a lot of possibilities of things that could happen. And just the look on her face when Martin was like, Julie, as if like he recognized her, that just kind of blew my mind.
Yeah, that was definitely a good one. Brother Carter, what was yours?
Well, you know, some of the things on the show were predictable, but mine stand out and continue to stand out is Randall on the ambulance, and he was still alive after being slashed in the face by the monsters. When everybody thought he was dead and out, they gave us a surprise, and Randall was still alive, and that was a pivotal moment for me.
Yeah, that was a really good one. Derek, what's yours?
Aside from episode 10, it was when Boyd was trying to get the ambulance started, and he didn't have the keys. And the girl walked up, you looking for these? He said, well, you know, Boyd, you can't save everybody. And he like took the keys, F you.
Yeah, every time Boyd cussed in this episode, that was my favorite moments because he sounds so funny when he does it.
Absolutely crazy. You want to get some of the audience what they said there?
Yeah, let me get some of the audience. Angela E said that her favorite moment was when Boyd slapped the hell across the room, slapped that bell across the room when he was standing up to Boyd. That scene tickled me so much. Now, who slapped the bell across the room? I know it wasn't Boyd. Because she said it twice. When Boyd slapped that bell across the room, he was standing up to Boyd.
She was just a little quick type
about when he was talking to Donna.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Fuck out of here.
That
There you go.
That is. Oh my god, that is so funny. Okay. Bridget said when Victor told Sarah was a killer. Yes. She's a killer. Glue Guns and Roses said Jim learning to shut the F up from his wife's ex-husband and then hearing his wife's boyfriend play the violin. You know what? You are messy. Glue
messy. I would have to say like the shade that Victor gave Sarah. God. He deuced her up when he was like, look, I need you to come in this tent with me. I got to tell a scary ass story. And I invited you because you the scariest motherfucker I know in the town. I was like, dang. Then later on, he's like, when you try to get Victor Christopher to talk, he's like, you're not doing it right. You're not doing it right. No, I said, this dude is crazy.
But Victor knows, man, she is the scariest person in that town.
And she proved it.
Also, too. He also, what was it? Victor knows, like I don't trust him. He was talking about Elgin, right? And here Elgin go kidnapping folk. Elizabeth said, for me, Victor with Sarah in the car graveyard, and then Henry and Victor's reunion.
Yeah, that was a powerful scene. Yeah. That was a powerful scene for sure.
Yeah,
a really powerful scene. So let's kind of get into episode 10. And they gave us a lot of stuff in episode 10. Mm-hmm. So let's talk about episode 10. Standout moments, things that just had you like going crazy. And anybody can start us off. Who wants to start us off? Parkley, go ahead, start us off, and then we'll go from there. Craziest moment.
Right, so episode 10. I think just Julie at the very end, going back, story walking, trying to save her dad. And it was like nada. That just kind of puts weight in what Ethan was telling her in the diner, that you can go back and view stuff, but you can't change anything that's already been written. And then we see the man in the yellow suit take out Jim's throat, which means that whatever is going to happen is going to happen, even if it is different ways.
Coming back apparently in trying to save the same thing from happening. But I mean, at what point do you realize something is a exercise in futility? If he told you that you cannot change what happens in the story, then what is the point of jumping from chapter to chapter?
Maybe she feels like she can do it. So let's go ahead. Anybody else go ahead, let's go ahead and talk it out. Who wants to go?
My favorite part that really stood out for me in that episode was when Boyd decided to go gangster on
Mhm.
Elgin, but he had his ride or die with him, Donna. Because he looked at Donna and she gave him that look like, you know what to do, daddy. He said,
Oh,
we got those tools in the shed. Man, I said, oh man, Donna is a gangster. That's my girl. Donna been my girl all 3 seasons. I don't care what nobody say. People try to hate on Donna. Donna, my girl. She ride or die. I like that.
Man, get out of here, Derek. We did a video on the channel talking about Donna, and that was one of the most viewed videos on the channel, saying that we don't trust her. Now you in love with Donna.
I'm in love with Donna, man. That's my girl.
oh my god.
If
Whatever.
me and my wife didn't work out, me and Donna, we gonna hook up. I don't
Oh
care what y'all say.
Lord.
Oh my God, Tabata, go ahead and get in there.
I think my favorite scene from the finale, like I was telling JH, it was Jade playing the violin. It was just so beautiful. And then we got to watch the birth of Smiley, and I was like, a monster getting a whole
Yeah.
orchestra for
Yeah.
to be born. And what do we get as humans? I just, it was creepy but elegant at the same time. I really enjoyed that scene.
I love that part too, because they were flashing back and forth between multiple things. Like you said, we saw the Kukui kids walking up, we saw Smiley, we saw a boy making his way through the tunnel, and that music was just playing through all of those different scenes as they were cutting back, creating like this elegant tension. And I just, when I was watching, I was like, damn, the way that they did that was just like really good. Carter and Margo, get in there.
Well, I really like how they slow rolled the birth of the baby, and we were all standing by wondering what was the reveal. I mean, they could have easily said it was a boy or a girl, but we found out it was a Smiley, and I think that was kind of a twist right there, because we all thought it was going to be a little baby. No one anticipated that it was going to be the rebirth for Smiley, and I like how they rolled it out. They slow rolled it out and ended with an emphatic ending with Smiley coming out as the human being. That was very good.
I loved it too. Margo.
I gotta go with my OG Sarah. Okay.
Ooh.
She put in work. She did what needed to be done. The whole 3 seasons they have made Sarah be scary. And honestly, I mean, she killed Jade's friend when they first walked into town, episode 1. Like, it was real scary. But I just love the fact that she knew who she was at that point. She was like, listen, I'm ready to go all the way because my soul has already been corrupt. And I'm the only one who actually knows what needs to be done to Elgin, because Boyd's a good man and he's not going to have it in him to go all the way. And we got to think about efficiency here. Yeah, maybe if he would have smashed his arm, boom, 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 then Elgin would have talked. But remember, they're on a time crunch, okay? And the monsters told Sarah, ha, 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 you ain't going to find her in time. So she was like, you gonna be in my head? I'm gonna use it to my advantage and I'm gonna pop this boy's eye out. And because of that, they were able to get the information that they needed. Boyd was able to see that they're reincarnated and all that type of stuff. So yeah, Sarah, that moment was everything. Okay, it was everything. I loved it.
She looked like a warrior.
Yeah,
that
I mean,
part.
Look, and since you brought it up, I was going to talk about this a little bit later, and I'm posing this question to our illustrious panel that we have, and then also the audience. But before I pose this question, please go ahead and like the video right now, real quick. Go ahead and like the video. And we put a poll up on our channel, and we said, did Sarah go too far? And Carter and I were talking about this off the air, and let me kind of set the stage why I'm posing this question. And y'all could tell me, am I looking at it wrong, audience? In my illustrious panel, you could tell me the same way. If you look at this situation, right? Even I'm not agreeing with what Elgin did, but if you look at it, Sarah has killed 4 people. No consequences. Nobody put their hands on her. Nothing happened to her. Fatima, we know she killed someone. Boyd protects her, hides her in the cabin, is going to look out for her. And then here we have Elgin, and what he did was wrong, but he has not killed anybody. He has not hurt anybody, and he got the worst of the worst out of anybody in the town. What are you guys' thoughts about that? Was it fair? Was it okay? And that's for the audience too. Put a comment down below, and I'm looking up on our YouTube to see what the stats were. But anybody could go and get this one. But Carter, I want you to
I would
wait
like to
because
go
Carter
first.
got something to say. So I'm gonna let a couple of people go first, and then Carter, I'm gonna let you get on this because what he got to say, I found it incredibly interesting. Who wants to go first?
I would like to go first
Go
because
ahead.
we can come on, guys. This is Fromville. They don't have the same morals and ethics as the real world. So whatever they got to do to survive in that town, it's survival at all costs. We know Sarah was under possession. Something was like really inside of her that drove her to do those things. And but when it comes to Elgin, he already knew that there was some funky things going on in the town. And just like Candace said, he thought that he was doing the right thing because of his grandmother. Where's your a black grandmother? You believe that you have an angel in an evil town? Come on now. No, I'm holding Elgin accountable for his actions, and he should have talked to Boyd. He should have talked to, Fatima. I mean, he should have told someone like, hey, well, Tilly died. Rest in peace, Tilly. But he should have talked to, even he already told Fatima when they was at the Brundles how people have visions and how they talk and nothing has ever come of them. So Sarah, I feel like she was under some type of weird possession, whereas Elgin decided to do that on his own. He thought he was doing the right thing, but I just don't believe your grandmama gonna say, kidnap a woman in an evil town.
Okay, I got some thoughts, but I'm gonna let the panel get in on that. Parkland, you look like something look like it's going on over there. What are your thoughts? I know you think about something.
Well, Boyd, he's judge, jury, and executioner. So normally that's the law in the land. If you're the judge, jury, and executioner, and
no one's gonna really
yeah, I mean, it's basically what he is, and no one's gonna go against Boyd. And as far as getting information out of Elgin, there really wasn't any other way. And I mean, it's not like they're gonna put anyone in the box at this point, like they did Frank. So I would say that Elgin, what happened to him was bad, and I'm sure they'll deal with that fallout season 4, including what Sarah did and what Boyd did. I imagine at this point it's more of Kenny is going to be stepping up as a de facto leader because of what happened with Elgin and what Sarah did, and the fact that Boyd's been protecting Sarah and lying about Fatima. So everyone's hands are dirty. I would have done the same thing to Elgin if I know that he's kidnapped a family member. Time is running out. Dude doesn't want to talk. He's looking all smug. He's looking like he's about that life. He's going to be hurt. He's going to be hurt, and Elgin got what he deserved. And that's why he gave up that Fatima was in the roof cellar when the eye popped out, because he realized people weren't playing around.
Okay, so we got some comments from the audience. Okay, so Angelique said Fromland has a serial killer walking the streets freely. I agree. She's just walking around, and Boyd, and nobody is saying boo to her. Tay said he was actively harming someone. She did what she was supposed to do. She means Sarah. She did what she was supposed to do. So I guess she's referring to when Sarah was hearing the voices, thinking that, it's gonna help us get out of here.
No, I think she was saying that Elgin, she did what she's supposed to do to hurt Elgin.
Oh, okay. And then Elizabeth said both Sarah and Boyd took it too far, and I agree. Elgin, yes, hit Fatima, though he was helping everyone. He didn't deserve that. And then Blue Guns and Rosa said 4 people, only 2 the town knows about. Elgin was premeditatedly kidnapping and forced demon baby birth. He had multiple times snap out of it. He never did. So Sarah snapped his eye out. Yeah, because
I like that. Okay, I come
right. He is actively bringing forth one of the monsters, the birth of the monster. Now I'm sure if Kimono Lady said, hey, the baby that Fatima is having is not her baby, it's our baby, it's I'm sure she might have given him some type of hint that this was not going to be a sweet, innocent little cherub. This was going to be something horrific. He is literally not freebasing, but he's literally like, shut up. He's literally getting vials of his blood, like in a Stanley cup, and like trying to get her to think. What entity would have you drinking blood and everything's gonna be okay? Like it's what's not clicking, Steven. So I don't know.
Yeah, but they do that when it comes to like Christianity, though. Whenever there's communion, they drink the blood and eat from the body, and communion they do wine and crackers or whatever, but it's still real blood. It's drinking blood.
Elgin never saw that in a black church. I refuse to believe it.
But he heard it though. He heard the pastor in the front of the black church say, "Get ready for communion. Drink blood, eat from the body. It's cannibalism."
He knew it was grape juice.
If he heard that,
cannibalism.
If he heard that, I feel like he would also. If we're going into religion, I feel like he would have also heard other parts of religion or of Christianity specifically. And whenever somebody was scared or something like that, like even let's say he has a martyr complex, which I know y'all talked about on the show a little bit, Candace and Patrick, right? Like he has a martyr complex. Well, if you're sitting in church, you would know even Jesus had friends and he talked to people. Like the only thing he did by himself was hanging on that cross. Okay, he talked to people up until he was arrested. So if he's listening to people doing communion and this blood is supposed to actually be the blood and so on and so forth, he would have heard these other things too. And it seems like he was picking and choosing what he wanted grandma to what he wanted to listen to from grandma because he wanted to go home, but he didn't ask questions. You knew that wasn't her baby, and he said it out of his mouth. So whose baby was it? Why is the baby here? How is the baby going to make everybody go home? Like people ask questions in the Bible. So
in Fermville, we don't ask questions. We just do stuff.
So, Derek, did you have something to say? And I'm gonna let Brother Carter speak on this one.
No, I just say for Elgin, he did a FAFO. And we all know what FAFO is, the acronym is.
Yeah. Fuck around and find out. Angela E said Elgin needed glasses if he thought the kimono lady looked like an angel.
I'm telling you. She
really.
But I also want you all to remember, because I know it's, we probably haven't went back and watched season 1. But when Sarah was doing those things, she was possessed. Like she was not being herself. Even when like she got the little message on her arm, kill the boy, it was like something was taking over her, just like Fatima. If they would have told the truth, like, hey guys, Fatima is pregnant, she has something growing in her, but we know she's not pregnant, but they could have just locked Fatima up, so she couldn't hurt anybody. But they could have just told the truth. And I feel like Elgin, I agree with Elgin here. Smiley, the baby was hungry. He killed Miss Tilly.
Got you.
Yeah.
Now, Brother Carter,
go ahead. About that too. Yeah, because think about it too. Elgin didn't feel no regrets. Fatima felt regret. Sarah felt regret. I don't think Elgin felt any regret besides his eye getting popped out. But go ahead, Brother Carter.
Go ahead, Brother Carter.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm getting ready to rain on y'all parade. This is the situation what I saw here, and I saw it from a whole different perspective. As Patrick shared, everyone got a pass. They got a pass for being under the influence of the entities there. They got a pass for killing people. Elgin killed no one, and he was under the influence on one of the most powerful entities there, the kimono lady, who we found out is actually in cahoots with the rest of the monsters and serving Smiley. So she had a lot of influence over Elgin's mind because she actually worked with the monsters in influencing Elgin. But out of all of those people, he's the only one that got brutally abused. Not Sarah, not Fatima. They killed people. They were under the influence. He killed no one. He didn't know that was a demon baby. He was under the influence of kimono lady. Here's what I saw. I saw a black on black situation here. I saw a black man abusing another black man in a most egregious way for the most minimal action. He did not do anything to Sarah. He did not do anything to Fatima, who killed people. You can't get any more permanent than killing somebody.
And he didn't do anything.
And so, but
let me tell you this: what
he
Elgin
didn't
did.
he didn't do
But let me
anything to
tell, yes,
anybody
Elgin
other
did.
than
Elgin
he
did
was
this
under
to
the influence
himself.
of the kimono one.
No, he was
He
not.
was under
Let me
the
tell
influence.
you.
Why he wasn't?
They cannot come in the home unless you invite them in. The kimono lady asked Elgin for his help. He could have said no. She asked him, "Will you help me?" He was not possessed.
Mhm.
I'm sorry,
And
I don't know
then
why
when
I'm
you
getting
think
quiet.
about, no,
He
you're
was
right.
not possessed.
Fatima wasn't truly possessed. She could have had the option of telling folks she had this food fetish. She was under the
She
option
did.
of she told after the fact, right? But my thing is that Elgin didn't do anything egregious to hurt anyone. And Fatima, in truth, should have been locked up. She was a murderer. She was a murderous, demon carrying woman who willfully ate rotten food and drank blood. She was a danger to that town, but yet Boyd protected her, but put a hammer to a boy who didn't do nothing to nobody other than hold back where a murderous, demon carrying woman was.
And then just to throw it in there, I thought it was interesting, and we talked about it on our video, because even in season 1, when that gentleman allowed his daughter and his wife to be killed, he was supposed to go on the box. And what did Boyd do?
Yeah,
Boyd didn't follow through, and he said, "I'm going to give you a talisman. You can go in the woods and do what you're going to do." And the man said, "No, I'm guilty of what I did," and he decided to put his own self in the box. I do think that it was interesting that out of all the people, that Elgin did get the worst treatment, and what he did was bad, but it wasn't to the same level as some of the other people that we've seen in the town.
But think the other people weren't on a time constraint, and the other ones were willing to help. Sarah was like, "Okay, Boyd, I'll go in the wilderness with you because I want to help, because I know what I did was wrong." Elgin didn't have to get his eye popped out if he was willing to help. It's just the fact of all the other constraints in the equation, right? And they're not unknowns. Well, there are unknowns. We don't know how much time Fatima has left. We don't know
Yeah,
if
but and
Elgin's
also
going to tell the truth.
and also Sarah knew that kimono lady was evil, and she told Elgin, "This woman means you no
Fatima.
good." I mean, she said that this woman is trying to harm Fatima. There is no good coming from her. It was like, no, no, no. I mean, he just would not understand
Right.
what was
No, but
going on. But
Sarah told everybody that even when Boyd went to go get the hammer, she said Elgin is under the influence of the kimono lady. She's evil. He's just like the rest of us. He's under the influence of this entity. So why he
But
did
the
not get the
difference
same?
is,
Why
but
he
the
did not get the
difference,
same fair
hey,
treatment? They
let's
murdered
put it
folks.
in perspective. We cannot take this out
Mhm.
of perspective. The kimono lady asked him and he agreed. So he got in bed with evil versus the other ones. They had no control. Fatima didn't know she was pregnant with a smiley demon baby. She didn't know that. She was remorseful after killing, just like Sarah. But Elgin agreed. She asked him, "Will you help me?" And he said yes. And he knew that people had seen things there. Fatima talked to him twice. And
Elgin didn't kill
wanted to do what he
anybody.
wanted to do.
He never killed anybody.
But you ain't gotta kill people to be evil, and you ain't gotta kill people to
No,
allow
but
evil
But he put
plans
the
to go
town
through.
at a threat. He put the town at
Exactly.
a threat,
This is
guys.
the
The
thing, though.
town was
So
at a
we're
threat
gonna
with
table-
Elgin not
gonna
speaking
table
up.
that one. Look, we're gonna
But
table that.
psychopathic Sarah can walk around as a serial killer and not a threat to the town.
Yeah,
She was possessed. There's a difference between being possessed and agreed to help the evil.
So, but why she wasn't locked up though?
Hey,
She was never locked
Boyd.
up.
JH,
Yeah,
you boy, you the Hannah from. Why they just locked Sarah up?
I'm saying, I think it wasn't a fair and balanced treatment.
To mute y'all, Tabana and Carter. We about to move on to the next one because golly, y'all going in.
No, real quick,
You know
Patrick.
how we could have avoided all
Well,
Go
no,
ahead,
this?
Derek. Go
no,
ahead,
I
Derek.
really want you
what
all
was
to
the
think
poll
about
show?
it. When it comes to
Tavana, let me let
no,
Derek get
no
in there.
serious. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No,
Go
I
ahead,
was just saying real quick. What is the poll saying? I'm curious what
what the poll said on
the
YouTube.
Fromily feels about it.
So far, like on the poll, 36% said yes, 64% said no. But on Facebook, I saw a lot of people thought that Boyd went way too far. So let's move on from what Boyd did, and it's kind of in the same vein. But where do you think Boyd and other people go from this? And we talked about this on our on our video. You had the people who were somewhat the moral compasses in the town basically all implicated in what occurred. We saw Boyd was involved with it. We saw Kenny, who is a deputy, he was involved with it. And then we've also seen Donna, she's involved with it. So where do they go as a town if you guys had to guesstimate where they go into town in season 4? Because personally, I think that there's going to be some kind of a split, some kind of a divide. And let's hear from JH and Parkland first. Let them get in, and I want to hear what you guys got to say.
Oh yeah, most of it's going to be a divide, and Acosta is going to be at the head of it. I feel like Boyd owes her a couple bullets. We'll see. But
Oh my God.
yeah, gonna get Reggie.
Yeah, go ahead, Parkland. Oh,
So I think that. Oh, what were you done, Jay?
I was gonna
I-
say before before y'all ended the Elgin conversation, we could have avoided all this by skipping the 2. Y'all should have put him in the tub since he's so apprehensive.
I know, right?
Yeah, I think Boyd is going to be trapped down there with the creatures, and when they go back to town with Fatima, she's going to be resting, and it's going to boil down to Boyd's going to be removed. They probably will have Kenny, who will be in charge. Kenny and Acosta, they'll be kind of like in charge, and I imagine that there won't be any like punishment except for just kind of like excommunication. So when someone gets locked up, it's removing them from society as a punishment. Fatima was removed from the community in that little outhouse, so she was kidnapped. I imagine that Donna's not going to really mention anything to anyone because she doesn't want to create confusion. Kenny and Acosta are going to start talking about making rules and laws and how they can do things as a community, so nobody's doing anything solo like Boyd's been doing in the past. And I think that's going to be the direction going forward. Whereas the punishment that Elgin's going to get, he already got with the eye. The punishment that Fatima got, they're gonna call it good. And then as far as Sarah, I think people are going to continue to shun Sarah and have her excommunicated and just call it good.
Sarah's going back to her house.
Right.
Yeah, she
Going
going
to
back.
So Parkland, when you say Boyd
With
is
the
going to
blood on her shirt.
tunnel, what do you mean when you say stuck in the tunnel?
Well, okay, when the kimono woman was helping Fatima give birth, we saw that latch magically open up, whereas Fatima couldn't open it on her own while she was pregnant. So I imagine that latch is going to close back down and no one else is going to be able to go back down there. So Boyd's going to be trapped down there with the creatures, with Smiley. And my theory is that they're going to discover Boyd there, and season 4 is going to start with Boyd being chained up somewhere and being milked for his blood, like Martin was with the worms in him, or they're going to be torturing him, or he's going to be trying to like fight his way out of there, and they're going to like claw him, and he's going to be going around the maze of caves, lost, injured, and struggling until he finally makes his way out. Maybe the boy in white helps him or something. But I don't see Boyd just turning back around and going back up the way he went down.
Yeah. So when the divide happens, what do you guys think it's going to look like? Because when the show first started, you had Colony House and then you had the town, and you had to make a choice. We saw that, you know, when the Matthews family got there, their daughter decided she was going to go live in the Colony House while the rest of the family decided the town. So what do you think those factions are going to look like? Because I agree with you. It can't go back to what it was before. I just don't think Boyd is going to have that moral standing like he once had. What do y'all think it might look like? Do you think it's going to be 2 factions, 3 factions, and then who might be the leader of each faction, if you want to call it a faction?
Well,
Yeah,
you
I
know,
think you're
Pastor,
going to
I
see.
agree. I don't think there's going to be a divide. Remember, this show goes in patterns. Season 1, they were a community and the entity won. Season 2, Boyd won by smashing the music box. So now in season 3, it is back to the entity winning, which means it's going to bring the town together. I don't think necessarily that they're going to be divided.
Yeah, I
Okay.
agree because now they're gonna have a common enemy. And what did we just learn from Wicked when we went to go see it this weekend,
Yeah.
y'all? Is when you have a common enemy, it brings people together, just like we saw the town and the colony house people coming together to find Fatima. He was villainizing, as he should, the monsters. So I agree with you.
I like that.
I
Yeah,
Cardi,
think Jade and Tabitha is going to take more of a leadership role because we already know they are reincarnated. They are there to be the ones to try to
Mhm.
make some things right. I think they had to make Boyd go dark. It reminds me of Walking Dead, where Rick Grimes actually became a darker character because of the things that were to come required somebody to make some hard decisions. Since Miley has returned as this ultimate villain, it's going to take someone like Boyd who have now tasted blood to be able to make some hard decisions because it's going to be a serious war that's going to require some additional death for some of the people in the town.
I like that. Let's see. Guns and Roses. Read that real quick, Candace.
She
And
says
then Derek, you're next.
Acosta will riot against Boyd and everyone in the house. All the red shirts and Elgin go with Acosta. Bakta already said she will have Boyd's back from now on.
And then Derek, go
Yeah,
ahead.
that's where I was going to go with Glue Guns and Roses. That's going to be the divide because Bhakta has already said that she's going to support Boyd, but I don't think it's going to be a long term. I think the divide is just going to be initially in the first few episodes, and then they're going to start coming together because you got the the story arc that's developing with Jade, I was going to blink on her name.
Tabby.
Tabitha, yeah.
Yeah, because there's going to be a story arc with that, and so they're going to eventually come back together.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And then this is a comment that someone posted on one of our videos. They said, it's clear to me that Boyd would have to kill Acosta to keep some kind of secret, becoming a tyrant and a villain. It kind of goes to what you were saying, Carter, about him maybe becoming more of a darker type person, so to speak. Let me see. There was another comment that somebody put up that I thought was pretty cool. Let me go to it. This is a question I want to pose to everybody here, and let's click on it. And this was something that always intrigued me too. They said, well, let me see if I can make this bigger. No, it doesn't look like it's going to get bigger. They said, why do you think the monsters never hurt Victor or his family, even though they frequented the cellar many times before? They could have just come in the cellar. And we saw that when Victor went down there and the monster said, hey, if you keep coming down here, Victor, next time we're going to make you stay. Why do you think the monsters allow Victor to go down there so many times? And I guess we can start with who wants to start us off?
I guess I'll go. I hate to go down the Victor is evil route because I don't think he is. I don't know how else to explain it. You coming down, you let this man slide. I don't know how many times.
Yeah,
been down in the cave or whatever, but I don't know. Maybe he did. Maybe he's suppressing something else we don't know about. We already found out about Jasper not talking.
Yeah,
it was the boy in white.
He's been there too long for people. I mean, you not to expect that the monsters have just let him live. You can't tell me that this child survived this place with these monsters up until 56 without them knowing or being able to give
Mhm.
Victor passes for some reason.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And then this was a comment. It kind of goes along with what some people are saying. They said, "No time for the BS. Boyd has to pull a Rick Grimes with the townsfolk." I think that's what you said, Carter. It said,
Yeah.
"Forget what they feel about what he did with Elgin or Fatima. It's not a democracy anymore." So a lot of people kind of feeling that way. So let's maybe transition a little bit to what we discovered about Julie time walking, the music notes, and then the man in yellow. What are you guys' thoughts? Like, what do you guys think made the man in yellow come? Because he said something interesting, like there was a lot of pushback. He seemed to be upset that the people were pushing back and doing what they shouldn't have been doing. We'll start with you, Parkland.
So I guess like FROMVille has rules, and everything that everyone has done has been okay, except for using technology to kind of like cheat in the game. And also doing things like making a shortcut going to the creature's like lair, which is what Tabitha did. So Jim putting a tower on top of Colony House, Tabitha digging and making a shortcut down to the cave where she saw like their whole cave painting, and even remembering like their saved games from people who they came from when they were reincarnated those different times. All that stuff was stuff that like was not allowed as far as like the balance. And I think the man in the yellow suit is more like a game master, and that's what made him finally show himself to eliminate Jim, because like he said, knowledge comes with a cost. I think if if Tabitha and Jade would have been like their previous versions, kind of like just fumbling around and bumbling around and trying to figure it out, he would have not surfaced. But the fact that they had like an advantage made him put the good guys or the town people back in check by ripping out Jim's throat.
Yeah, I definitely think that they were getting too close, because
Right.
even if you think about the show in the last couple of seasons, every time there's been, it seems like they've gone a clue or close to something dramatic has happened. If you think about when the Matthews house fell in because she dug that hole, remember those numbers that she seen on the walls? Those have to be the years that they were there. Tabitha
Right.
and Jade were there. And I think her being that close causes this to happen. And being that Victor remembered what the boy in white told Christopher, they figured out the music with the notes in the bottle trees. They're figuring out so much.
Mhm.
Fatima telling them about uh the original settlers there, sacrificing their children to live forever. There's too much information out now.
Yeah.
And so the man in the yellow hat has to come and just like
Put a stop to
put
it,
a
you saying?
stop to what's happening because they're getting too close.
Yeah. Okay. So anybody else want to touch on that?
Yeah,
But
I'm
they say
actually
music. I'm sorry.
wondering if Jim is actually dead, because when his daughter came running out of the woods, everybody's remarked online that her hair was cut shorter and just her face looked different.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
she had gone back to that place, and she was trying to change the story, and Ethan told her she couldn't do this. So I'm wondering if this is just something that she saw, and when you come back next season, it'll be more like a vision. But even though she wasn't back in the cave, but she was outside, but she's still having this vision. Her dad actually is not dead.
That's a good idea. Carter, go ahead.
I think music is playing a pivotal part in this whole scenario. The man in yellow shows up after the violin plays as if some type of portal opened up to allow him to be able to walk into semi-daylight. And because Jim was able to discern the connection between the music and the codes, and the man in yellow saying this knowledge is too much, you divulge knowledge, that music is something that's connecting everything together. And I think it's going to be a pivotal part in the season 4 on how they get out of Farmville, is how they break the code of the music. I think the music is used to keep the monsters out of control.
Yep. And then Tavana, it looked like you want to say something.
Oh, it's Tavanda. It's a DA
Oh,
at the
sorry,
end.
Tavanda.
Okay.
I think it's pretty simple why the man in yellow came was because Jay, and Tabitha, they unlocked the song. And I guess my only concern with the man in yellow was he was so angry at Jim. And I guess he was angry at Jim because remember, Jim became real relaxed on Tabitha. But before, he was very hard on her, like, don't listen to your dreams, don't listen to your intuition. And like he said, you was the one that's supposed to tell your wife to stop digging that hole. So I think Jim indirectly was helping the man in yellow. And then when he didn't have control over Tabitha, as far as saying, stop doing this or stop doing that, it sounds like, okay, now Tabitha and Jade, whatever power they have, it seems like their power was growing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. What do you guys think that the man in yellow is the big bad or the biggest entity or bad thing in the town? Because I know some people are talking about, I think something red like red fire or whatever the case may be. Do you guys think the man in yellow is the big bad?
Well, if we got allegedly 2 more seasons, I think we gotta have somebody else.
You think so?
The big
That's my
bad
thought
season
process.
4.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We going 5 seasons, see.
Whatever. I want to stop at 4.
Yeah, it's got to end at 4. It's got to end at 4.
No, they ain't stopping at no 4. They was talking about that they wrote it to be 5 seasons. Which is interesting. And leave a comment below, like how many seasons would you guys like the show to be? So we saw the man in yellow and we saw Julie kind of running, and we see that she's a time what do they call it? What was her thing called?
Story
Walker.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
What do you guys think is going on with Marielle and then also with Randall, right? Because I think something that was incredibly interesting that they presented to us in the last episode is that Marielle is actually experiencing things, and she has been masking it and hiding it. And we've seen Randall having a difficult time with the cicadas, and we even saw him almost try to lobotomize himself. But we see Marielle. And I present this question to you guys. Do you guys think that they will be able to story walk? Or what do you think is wrong with Marielle? Because I never trusted Marielle, and y'all might think I'm crazy. I talked about this in the video yesterday. I don't have anything to back it up, but she gave Fatima that medicine when she left. She hooked up Fatima's IV, and I'm wondering, did she put some stuff in her things, because she seemed to have a vested interest in her, and I couldn't understand why. What do you guys think is going to happen with those other people? Will they be story walkers? What do you think they're going to be?
Marielle's a sleeper agent.
Explain. Explain.
She's been taking care of that baby, whether she knows it or not. She was taking care of that baby, handing out drinks, looking happy while she did it too. Drink this.
Yeah, because isn't there that theory that Fatima was technically already pregnant before Boyd killed Smiley? If you look at that episode and you look at the timeline, it's like Chrissy told Fatima that she was pregnant before Boyd gave the worms to Smiley. So that might support the theory of, well, Muriel was taking care of Fatima after that point. Yes. So it could have been some of the things that she was giving him, and it could have been some of that other stuff too, or that she was giving Fatima. It could have been other stuff too.
And I'm glad you brought that up, because some people were saying that Boyd is the reason why she had the baby, because he gave Ellis the worms. I'm like, guys, he didn't give Ellis. They didn't do the blood transfusion. She was pregnant well before that, because she was, thought she was pregnant, and then and all of that. So it had nothing to do with the fact that Boyd did the blood transfusion and could have potentially passed on the worms. So that's and it goes to another question I had is, why did the town, or how did the town choose her? And it might be what we're saying here. Maybe Marielle did something to help induce it, because she looked like she was in a bad place when she told Christy, yeah, I'm going through stuff. She didn't just say, yeah, I feel a little down every now and then. She seemed like something was really prying and picking at her.
And why did, like you said, why was Fatima the one pregnant? Them two weren't the only ones having sex, because we saw in the other episodes, when they were doing the interrogation, that couple who was like hugging each other, right? And they're like, why aren't you talking to Sarah, the person who killed 2 people already? So,
Exactly.
you know, like why Fatima? Maybe when he said that my blood is your blood, that was some type of, you know, ritual saying that could have made it be so that I don't know. Why was it her? That's a good question.
I noticed a pattern in this show. If anyone asks questions, something bad happens to them. And even Victor told Tabitha that, I believe it was season 2, episode 7 or 8. He was like, when she was like, why didn't you tell Jade about the symbols in the cave? And he was like, because you shouldn't go ask questions. If you do, you don't go back. And in that scene,
Mhm.
Fatima was the first person to ask, hey, what are we going to do with the body? And then in that same scene, Kenny said, we should burn it. We know Kenny got burned in his dreams. So I'm thinking that's why Fatima ended up with Smiley in her belly, because she asked, what are we going to do with the body? But also it seems, well, we know she was already pregnant before then. So I'm not really sure.
This comment says that Fatima may had a normal pregnancy, while then Marielle gave her something to make the baby a demon.
Because
Yeah,
I
somebody
just
gave her the bile. That was a good comment.
Yeah.
Somebody was like, maybe she mixed up the bile with some type of nutritionist drink.
yeah,
Mm.
because just like everybody's been saying, you know, there's a lot of sex going on in the Colony House. We saw it in season 1. Like it's almost like on the verge of being an orgy. We've seen multiple people getting it on. Even we saw Fatima kissing other women and stuff like that. So you know, there. I always wonder why. What was there not more pregnancies and things like that? Which is definitely. Carter, did you want to say something about that? It looked like you wanted to say something.
No, no, no. I'm listening. I'm trying to analyze this particular discussion right here.
Okay. Okay.
This comment says that Angela says some women was going to get pregnant because the monsters can't be destroyed. When you kill them, they come back to life. Smiley was coming back regardless of what Mari did or didn't do. What do you guys think about that?
Maybe Mari is hearing, maybe she heard something, because we don't know everything that she heard. If Randall's hearing the cicadas and Julie is hearing screaming, Marielle is definitely hearing something, okay? Because she's not going to be the anomaly when they all experience the same thing. I just don't know what she was hearing. She could have been hearing the monsters tell her to mix some stuff with the bile. She could have been hearing the monsters tell her to give this to Julie or so on and so, or give this to Fatima or so on and so forth. I do agree that they always, of course, have to be rebirthed because of the curse, but how they are rebirthed, it seems like just exactly what you said, Spade. It seems like there are rules and that there are laws to Fromville. And so maybe some things have to be in place for this rebirth to occur, just like it seems there has to be people in this town so that, you know, the Jade and Tabitha reincarnations can do what they got to do to free these children.
Mhm.
But
And I'm
you know, saying
Oh yeah,
Go ahead.
the other thing too is that remember what caused the last round of killing when Victor was little was probably because the reincarnated versions of Jade and Tabitha were getting close to saving the children. And then that's what caused all those deaths to occur. So anytime they get close, the monsters are going to keep these people in Fromville. They're not going to get out. And you remember when they killed Smiley, the monsters just kind of looked at, oh, he's gone, and they just walked away
Yeah.
Mhm.
It was
because
almost
they
like
knew,
they were
yeah, they
used to
knew
it,
like
like they've
he's
seen it
coming
before.
back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I wanted to show this real quick, and then Kendra, you can show it. This is a comment Guns N' Roses put a while ago in one of our videos. She says, I'm wondering if Elgin is another reincarnated townsperson. Remember, Jay saw 2 people with missing eyes in his visions. He saw the Civil War soldier and the pilgrim drinking out of the skull. Both had one eye poked out. What do you guys think about that?
I think this
Mhm.
show is pulling from a lot of different mythologies. There's definitely some Japanese mythology with the Ubumi. There's definitely some Norse mythology for right here. There's Native American or Inuit type of mythology. But for this portion right here, I think they're really pulling from Norse mythology like Odin. And I think it might be a recurring thing that every cycle might need to get some type of eye plucked out for knowledge to occur, because the mustard guy said it himself. Knowledge comes with the cost. If you know, in Norse mythology, Odin gets his eye plucked out so that he can have a certain type of knowledge. They're able to find Fatima and learn about the reincarnations of the monsters through Boyd from Elgin's eye getting popped out. So I think they're just pulling from a whole bunch of different hats of what stories are out there in mythology for this show.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Parkley, you got a thought about that?
Yeah, I think that Sarah just saw the screwdriver and at the spur of the moment was just like, let me go for his eye. Yeah, I think that's what's going on with that. As far as Smiley, so I think Smiley came back, and I got like some notes or whatever. I did a video on this. So I think that Fatima growing Mary Jane in Fromville, the soil in Fromville had properties that healed her and also healed other people. Because at the celebration for Fatima's 1-year anniversary, everyone was praising her for her green, whereas people in town, they weren't really smoking the green like that. And I think when Boyd went to Smiley, cut his throat, and was like, "My blood is your blood." When Boyd passed the worms to Smiley, which killed him, I think Smiley passed bile to Boyd. Because if you cut your hand and someone else cuts their hands, you guys put your hands together, you're giving each other whatever you have that's in your blood. And so I think that what was put inside of Boyd, like the bile that we found in that was found in the Smiley creature, was transferred to Ellis, and Ellis gave that to Fatima, so that while Fatima was actually pregnant with an actual human baby, that the bile that came from Smiley to Boyd, from Boyd to Ellis to Fatima, somewhat turned the human baby into a Smiley clone. So the Smiley creature at the end of season 3 is not the original Smiley. I think that's like a clone of him, and like that's what makes him like reborn.
So you
Because
said, go ahead. So you saying basically like they may have had like sexual intercourse or something after Boyd did the blood transfusion,
right?
And then
Because
that's transfer that could have that's also a very interesting.
Yeah, that's very interesting. It's giving
Yeah.
Berserk. I don't know if any of the viewers watch Berserk, but that's what it's giving.
Because even though the creatures are immortal, that doesn't necessarily mean that they can't die. Kind of like with Highlander, those guys and gals were, I think those all just men. They were immortal, but if you cut their head off, they die. So when Boyd was going to Smiley creature and was going to like cut his head or cut his neck, Smiley had jumped back. He jerked back. Every time we've seen this, the creatures get like shot, hit with something, they just stand there and take it. That was the first and only time we've seen a creature, Smiley creature specifically, actually try to dodge a blow, because I think removing their heads is how you kill them.
Interesting. Carter, you want to say something?
Well, you mentioned earlier why Fatima was chosen as the one to give birth to Smiley, but we keep in mind that these monsters are all about children sacrificing. Since she was the one that was acknowledged to have a baby, her baby naturally became a part of that sacrifice, because that's how they were able to get their immortality. So I think that she became more conducive for Smiley to be reborn to, because she had a baby in her that could be sacrificed, and he just kind of took that body over to bring himself back, since that's their portal for immortality.
Right, because then that thing would have to happen every single time, right? Because we know that the monsters are going to get reborn. So then that blood transfusion thing would have to happen every single time in these 9 cycles if they killed one. Or maybe this was the first time that they killed one. It's the first time to test if they really do get reborn. We don't know.
No, that's interesting. And then since you guys kind of bringing up the bio, I got another question for you guys. But the audience, leave any comments or questions, audience, so that we can pin them up. And I want to ask everybody to go ahead and like the video. It looks like we got 121 people watching. Just take 5 seconds and like the video. If you like what you've heard so far, super chats and all of that are welcome as a thank you and all that good stuff. So go ahead, Candace.
Oh, I just had a question. What do you guys think, an audience, you two, what do you guys think, looking back on the previous 3 seasons, what do you think Julie might have had a hand in those 3 seasons?
That is a great question. So
Mm.
I'm gonna let y'all chew on that because that's a difficult one. But I want to ask, that's a really good question, Candace. I want to ask this question because it relates to what we're talking about, and then we're going right to that question. Do you guys think we will see them bring up the bio again? They spent a lot of time in season 2 with the whole bio thing. They was punching that monster, busting his dead guts open, getting in the bio. We saw a boy talking about he's going to put the bile on a bullet, which I always thought was ridiculous because of friction and heat and gases exchanging. It was no way that bullet was going to do anything. On our video, Margaret and I were talking about if you wanted to try that, a spear or a knife probably would have been better, or even like an arrow, because we know that different cultures put poison on arrows, shoot it, and it may have a greater effect. And they also told us it looked like in season 3 that they was going to try to trap a monster, but it looked like they just went away from that. Do you guys think in the upcoming episodes that we're going to see them revisit the bio, and will they revisit the idea of trying to trap and kill more monsters? What do you guys think?
The first part of your question, huge, emphatic no. I am under the belief that this was a huge nothing burger, just like the suitcase, just like Jasper talking. Writers, take this L. I can't stand that bile. Nothing came of it.
Wow. Dang, he's not sparing them. He's not sparing them.
Now, what was the second
only
part of the
thing
question?
with the bio is it just reminds me when Elgin threw up on the bus and how it was that same color.
Mm.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the writers just went with that and then decided not to work with it any further. And
Yeah.
the same thing with trapping a monster. Patrick and I did a whole
Oh yeah, trapping a monster. Oh man,
yeah,
that's another one.
we did a whole podcast on that, and we
Yeah.
just came up with all these different ways they could trap a monster, and it just didn't go anywhere. So I don't see those 2 story arcs going anywhere.
Well,
Yeah.
Patrick, now the man in yellow was kind of walking in daytime, and I'm trying to feel, is he now a kind of a day walker? And if he is a day walker, does that mean that the monsters will be able to walk in day now? And if so, the talisman only works in the enclosed area, so they're going to have some other type of weapon if these monsters are able to walk in day to protect them as they roam around the land. And maybe the bow might become a weapon form, like you said, on the tip of a spear. They're going to have something else other than the talisman if these monsters are able to walk in the day. Because now you into the Walking Dead scenario.
Yeah. Parkley, you have something to say?
Yeah, I think the bile thing is over with. That's going to be a nothing burger, like Jay was saying. And as far as trying to trap the creatures, I think the next course of action they're going to do is they're going to do some exploring. Now that Boyd is going to be missing, in my opinion, and Donna's fraud or whatever, I think Kenny and Acosta are going to lead other people to go exploring, and they're going to find stuff in the forest they can use as weapons, no different than the stone they found at the grotto cave, which we call the talisman stone. And I think that's going to be used to try to go up against the creatures.
That's interesting because I've always been waiting on them to go on the attack against these monsters. And then let's go ahead and approach that question that Candace posed, where she said, what other things do you think Julie may have influenced throughout season 3? And guys, if you haven't had a chance yet, could you go ahead and like the video? Looks like we got 123 people watching, but we don't have that many likes. So just take a second, like the video.
You guys don't like us.
It takes 10 seconds to like the video. I'm not even 10. It takes 1 second. So who wants to start us off first about that whole did Julie maybe influence some other things throughout the various seasons? Because that rope being thrown down the boy, like Jay, I was thinking that was gonna be some bull that they never addressed again. Be like similar to like the Biles, like they're not gonna talk about how the rope got to Boyd. Like they're not gonna address these things, and they did. We saw Julie throw the rope down. So guys, do y'all think? What else do y'all think Julie may have intervened with?
Definitely the first episode when that monster was like, Julie, you don't remember me?
Yep.
Then she definitely, I don't know if her and that monster had a little thing going on. I don't know if she went all the way back to one of them 9 cycles, but definitely now I first thought it was just a fluke, but now that we know she's a story walker, she definitely has some impact with that specific monster. And we saw that same monster in that half circle when Smiley was having his rebirth. So he was also in that last episode too. So which we have seen other monsters who were in previous seasons that we didn't see in that tunnel, but we definitely saw that young monster man there. So at least that for sure, I think she has a hand in. I'm wondering if her trying to come back and save Jim is what brought the man in yellow, because they come from the same part of the woods. Like when she goes to her dad, he also comes from that area. So I'm wondering if the song that Jade played, as well as maybe Julie was getting watched by the man in yellow and she didn't know. And then that also opened it up for that too. But those are my 2 things that I think she had a hand in.
I want to just bring up some comments. Isaiah Alexander said, I think Julie planted the food and the crops in the settlement. And someone else said, let's see, and she lives in the cabin. She's the one who lives in the cabin. Whereas I mean, I just keep going back in my mind in some of the episode thinking like, okay, maybe she had a point in this. So I'm sorry, guys, go ahead.
Who was that you, Lavonda, trying to talk? Was that you? Okay. Somebody was trying to talk. Who was that was trying to say something?
No, I was just going to say it was interesting. Remember, she was very interested in welcoming Elgin. So I don't know if she had some type of influence, or if, I don't know. I have to go back and watch it, but I do think that's interesting that she was really, because people were thinking like, oh, she got a little crush on Elgin. So maybe she had some type of little influence on him.
Parkland, what did you think? Did you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think Julie's going to be the one to story walk and go back and not only talk to the creature Jock before he becomes a creature, but maybe she's the one that gives the children hope that someone's going to come save them by telling them stories that Ethan told her, that she's going to relate to them, to give them the hope that they pour the hope into the roots that makes the faraway tree. And from my understanding, how story walking works is whenever we're watching an episode, if we see some type of effect of time travel, then we'll see it like that. Julie can't just simply story walk on an episode we're not walking. So in other words, like you're reading a book, whatever page you're on, Julie from the future can interact with that current page that we're on, but she can't do anything beyond that. So like with Boyd, we saw him trapped in the underground mine shaft. We saw him trapped, then he got the rope. And that was like season 2, episode 1. And then we saw her do the cause in season 3. So I think that's kind of like the extent of her time travel. So the only other time besides what I'm thinking as far as with the children and the townspeople before they become creatures is there was a scene where Jim and Julie were kind of like talking when Tabitha first started her digging below the house, and they were kind of like, horse playing with each other, talking about Jim and Julie. They both went into the cellar, and we saw that light flashing. I think that light flashing was Julie trying to warn them to not dig, but maybe she just didn't have control over her chapter walking at that point, or story walking at that point.
Maybe she was the one who wrote those dates on the wall too. I don't know. It's just, yeah.
No, I was gonna say, I think it's, I don't think where they started this season, something changed between season 1 and now, because in season 1, it was not evident that it was reincarnation. And if Julie is a story walker and she's supposed to make all these changes, only thing she was doing was getting into it with Tabitha. You know, she was mad at them about the divorce. She was hanging out with Fatima and Ellis and the Brundles. Like there was like, if she's a story walker making, I don't know, maybe that's for the later seasons, but I don't know if that was the premise in the beginning.
The brick, the white one. Sorry, guys, we're trying to find Patrick's charger before his battery dies. Oh no.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think the story walker element will maybe reveal to us some early things like within the other 8 cycles of what happened with this town. Because kind of exactly like what you said, there wasn't really any moment to where I could see she changed the story besides, you know, that light flashing or certain things like that. I would completely agree with you on that.
Yeah.
Because
I
even
think
with
they're
throwing
gonna.
the rope, I thought it would have made sense for it had to have been Victor throwing the rope, because we actually saw him throw a rope, or that rope came from Tabitha's dream. So that's why I'm saying, like, I don't know what they're doing over there at MGM, but I think it is all over the place, and that's why we're all over the place with it, because they had to change the direction of, you know, what this show is supposed to be about.
Thank you, RC, for the super chat. We really appreciate it. He says, do you think playing the song in the forest is dangerous? Jim warned about playing it in town, but most people are in the forest looking for Fatima.
For sure. Especially if there's a monster that uses music.
Right. The ballerina. Yep. Just a couple more comments. Julie didn't realize what she could do until after the cicadas. I wonder, does Julie have anything to do with those cicadas as well? Let's see. Elizabeth said, yes, he recognized her, and Martin did as well. Like, she walked already. Let's see. It seems okay. Snotball says, it seems to me that if time travel is going to be a part of it, the story, then they should have them go to the beginning to save the kids. How can you save dead kids? That is a good
I'm wondering,
point.
what are we saving?
Right.
I think it's more of not saving them, but you know, if you ever watch like ghost movies and stuff, you have haunted spirits and they can't be laid to rest until the evil that was done to them has been solved. So I think that's what it is. I think it's the spirit of these children, right? Even though they might manifest themselves in front of the 2 OG people, like they need to be laid to rest. This curse needs to be broken. Somebody needs to atone for what happened to them, aka the monsters, so that they can be free and Fromville is no longer a thing.
Sammy made a good comment here. She said, I disagree. I think Julie was meant to be the story walker. When they first came to town, Julie was telling Ethan a story, then changed it to not make it as scary for Ethan. She might change.
No, she did not.
The mom did.
Because didn't they wait, they drowned or did they die or something? But wait, I'm trying to remember.
He said, like, when you die, you're died. That's it. I'm sorry, kid. And then Tabitha came in and said, oh, Ethan, monsters are not real. So you can go ahead and play
right
with the little finger puppets.
Playing with them.
And we know the monsters like to play.
Right. Willie says, I believe Boyd and his wife are reincarnations as well. Seems like only the reincarnated have visions and memories. I also think that only the reincarnated people live. I don't think anybody who's died in Fromville is actually supposed to be there, a part of this game or part of this cycle. Like Mrs. Chen and Dale, I don't think they had anything to do with or reincarnated parts of the people who were a part of this town. Y'all, we're still trying to find this charger. What do you guys think? Do you think that the people who have died or who just are seem like bystanders, really, do you think they have anything to do with this?
Nope. Wrong place, wrong time.
Right.
Yeah, and I
Sorry.
think maybe some of them are in town just because they were with people that were
Yeah.
supposed to be in town. So y'all, just like how with Miranda, Henry wasn't there because he wasn't driving in the car, and it was time for Miranda and for Christopher to come to town together with the two cars coming. But this time Jim was with Tabitha, so that's why Jim came this time. I just think there's a lot of people that are there for fodder. A lot of women need to be there because of the rebirth of the monsters. And then some of these people are just here because they were on a bus or in a car, or they're with the people who were actually supposed to be in the town.
Do you guys have any new theories about how to get out of Fromville? Can you even get out? Is that the
I
destiny?
want them to get out. I want them to stay. That's the
Oh,
point.
you can get
I
out.
can't
You can get
leave
out.
Earth. They can't leave Fromville. They got to stay.
They need to try going to the tree at night.
Can't stay out.
That's what they need to try to do. That's how Miranda died, trying to get to the tree at night, and Smiley ran his little behind over there to kill her. I think they need to try to go to the tree at night. The one time we see him run, okay? So I think they need to try to get to the tree at night, number one. And number two, I was really focusing on the simulation theory. I was really trying to get into it, that this is all a simulation and they're all hooked up. However, when you look at all the simulation theories and all the simulation movies, simulation is based on one main principle, which is recursion, which means it's the same formula, the same function over and over and over and over again. What's different about this is we might have people who have the same characteristics as other people, but we have people who are reincarnated, which means it's a different body, it's a different soul, or it's the same soul, but it's a different body, different characteristics, so on and so forth. So I don't really think it can be simulation because there's no recursion here. There's a cycle, but it's not the same formula over and over and over and over again.
Okay.
And I believe they're going to get out because if the writers are the same writers on the TV show Lost, and we know how that ended, and people were able to leave this island. So I think there's an exit strategy once the wrong has been corrected. That these people who are constantly being reincarnated are going to actually have completed their mission, and they're going to get out of Farmville. It's just how they're going to get to that conclusion of correcting the wrong that has been done in the past. But I think Tabitha and Jay is going to come very close to this time in season 4 of really correcting the wrong that has been done that keep them looping.
All right, and then go ahead and get that comment in. We're going to have to wrap it up. I don't know why I can't find my charger. I just had it a second ago, and it's pretty crazy.
You need Matt to run you one over?
But I don't know if our MacBook Pros are the same. Candace has a MacBook Air, but her charge is not the same as mine. But I go ahead and get that question real quick, Candace.
Okay. Well, I was gonna say, RC said I think the boy in white is Tabitha and Jade's son. Tabitha has a son and a daughter, and so did Miranda. So the first version probably had a son and a daughter as well. It's because we already know that Tabitha was Victor's mom. So Tabitha is Victor's mom and Eloise's mom. So the boy in white had to have been her son at some point as well.
Interesting. So I guess I cannot find this charger. I don't know where, like, it don't. I guess maybe this damn dog stole my charger or something. I don't know. I literally just had it, and I've been walking around for 10 minutes trying to find
they
it.
touch, they break, they steal.
they steal.
Well, Pastor, you're getting too close to the answer, and I think the man in yellow got it.
They need to go ahead and mail us the damn talisman that we won last night for that live.
Yeah, but I guess just to get ready to wrap it up, guys, what would you rate this season overall? And if there was one thing that you was looking forward to moving forward in the season, in season 4, let's get everybody to kind of share that, and then I hate to rush out because I just don't want the thing to die while we're still going live. So what would you rate this season? Out of how many talisman would you give it out of 10? And then in season 4, what is one thing that you're looking forward to seeing or think might happen?
I give it a 7, Patrick, and I'm looking for in season 4 for them to have more action. I hate the way they drug out this season. It
Yeah,
almost at
they
some
really
point got a lot of people disinterested. I hope they have more intense action situation where people are under imminent danger. I think that's what keeps the fluency of the show with imminent danger.
I hope that we get a chance to see another timeline in season 4, and then maybe the season finale would be something to do with what happened in season 4, season 3's timeline at the end. I hope we get to see that.
Okay. Who's next?
I'll go. I think I'm gonna give it 7.5. The finale gave it an extra 0.5.
Yeah.
But yeah, the action wasn't there for me. It a good chunk of the middle of the season was talk. We're gonna hit you with the uppercut at the end to bring you to the next episode. The cliffhangers were great.
Yeah.
But I just found myself like, okay, let's get even episode 1. I kind of felt like that until they peeled
His chin.
her potato back.
Oh my God.
Man.
Her muffin cap back blue.
Dang.
But yeah,
I'm gonna give
the
it.
season finale was definitely great.
Nice.
I'm gonna give it 5 talismans because I feel like it was
Oh,
drawn
I thought
out
that was bad.
this season. And the only other reason why I'm giving it 5 talismans is because of all of the leaks. And I think MGM had a play in those leaks because there was a lot of threat that people were not going to like watch this season if something didn't happen. So I'm gonna give it a 5. And what I hope to see in season 4, I want to see the origin. I want to see the original souls.
Yeah.
The 1506.
That's what I thought we were gonna get for an episode called Revelations. So I thought one of the episodes was gonna be dedicated to that.
Yeah. Well, thank you everybody in the chat.
No, but we got to get Parkland. But go ahead.
Oh,
and
I'm sorry.
Just
Parkland,
shout out
go
a
ahead.
couple people in the chat. So just pop them up.
Chris M said he gave it a 9. Elizabeth gave it a 7. She wants to see at least
the season is a 7.
Okay.
Last episode a
was
9.
Yes. Let's see.
And then we'll get you Parkland while she's pacing through.
Shook Earth.
So I get this.
Said 9.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I apologize. So I gave the season of 8 and the last episode of 8. So out of 10 for both of them. And I think for me, I want to see them explore the forest more, because if they found the talisman stones in the grotto, there may be other things in the forest as well, like weapons. And then another thing I want to find out is why is there all this stuff in the forest, such as the talisman stone, the settlement, the humanoid statues? Why is all that stuff out there and we don't see anybody else? There has to be other humans in FROMville besides the people in town and Colony House. Maybe people who've been there for generations. I want to see that. And a third thing I want to see is them to explore, to try to go closer and closer to the lighthouse to kind of see what that's about. Because when Boyd and Sarah were getting close to the lighthouse at the end of season 1, the weather got really, really bad to where they had to go into the faraway tree for refuge. So I want to kind of see more exploration, especially from someone like Donna, who is an actual hunter, who would be valuable and towards exploring out there.
I like that.
Real quick, I know what we are going to see next season. They're going to tell us about the motel.
You think so?
Yeah, too many people been asking about it.
It's strange that Henry, pointed that out. So I think we'll find out about it.
That's a good idea, Carter.
No, I gave mine earlier. I remember I said
I'm sorry.
I didn't give mine.
Oh, Margot.
Yeah, I would give it a 9. Now, I wish they gave us answers earlier, but when you think about it, we had deaths, we had scary moments of people going out at night, we got somebody going back into real civilization and seeing, having visions and so on and so forth. And then we had a whole pregnancy. I think they packed a lot in this season. I didn't like the leaks as well. I know we tried as hard as possible to not see them. And I do wish that they gave us more answers. But I would say we got a lot of things this season. So I would give it a 9 for sure.
Yeah, it was definitely, that kick in the behind that we needed to get us going, right?
And I would get mine, but for in the interest of time, I won't. I want to thank everybody who joined us on this live tonight. Thoroughly enjoyed having you guys. Thoroughly enjoyed watching you guys' channels. It's just been a lot of fun talking about this show, and I look forward to collaborating more with you guys. Please leave a like on the video. If you have a moment, if you haven't done so yet, like the video, audience, if you're watching. We've had a good amount of people watching. Does everybody quickly just want to shout out maybe their channel real quick? Before quickly.
All right, you can catch me at the JH Review, all one word.
You can catch me at TV Theories channel.
You can catch me at you can catch me at Parkland Media.
Exactly. And like I said, thank you guys so much for hanging out with us. And thank you everybody who's been a subscriber, who showed us love on this channel. We got some other things that we're going to be watching as well. And I recently turned on, a lot of people said, why don't you guys have the membership turned on yet? I wasn't even thinking about it. And so many people, so I turned it on. So it probably a couple of days it'll come on. So if you guys want to show us some love and subscribe and be a member, we would definitely appreciate that. Thank you all so much for joining us today. Really enjoyed you guys. And as always, our watch has ended.
Bye.